All right, welcome everyone. So, if you're on YouTube, you're probably familiar with these YouTube lives. We do a lot of them. If you are on Facebook, Periscope, and Twitch, this might be a little new to you. So, welcome aboard, everyone. That being said, if today is a little bit of a test. So I'm just kind of working out some things here. We got some oil stocks to talk about. I mean, a crazy, wild market right now. We've got tons to talk about. But again, well, first of all, I'm Tim Bowen, lead trainer with StocksToTrade. Welcome aboard. Welcome back. Again, if you're on YouTube, you're familiar with these. The other networks, this might be the first time I'm popping up in your feed. Again, we are under shelter in place. We are under quarantine, so I've got the work from home attire on. But anyway, if there's comments, that's one of the biggest things I'm working on right here is testing how I'm going to manage comments, okay? We do a lot of open Q&A on these YouTube lives. Again, if you're in the YouTube lives, I do one every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. The goal will be basically when I go live, I'll be live on all of these other networks as well. Now, that being said, bear with me on the comments because I'm going to have to figure out how to manage all of these networks and manage where the comments are incoming from, etc. So, anyway, let's get to let's move past the introduction. Again, thank you everyone. Let's get to some Q&A. Let's look at some trades for later. One of the most interesting stocks, one of the main watches this morning was WLL. And actually, one of my big goals for today was to bring you things to look for, okay? Many of you were asking questions. Many of you have seen the oil price, that front-end loaded futures contract that went negative the other day. Many of you, I'm sure, are hearing about the price of oil. I mean, I know we're all stuck at home, but if you've been out to get gas, I mean, where I am, I think it's like $1.15 a gallon. Last time this dates me, but last time I saw gas at $1.15 a gallon was when I was in high school, before the Iraq War. Tells you that I'm obviously 75 years old. But anyway, I'm sure many of you are thinking about oil, wondering about oil. Now, this is the tip I'm going to give you. This is the suggestion I'm going to give you, and you don't have to follow it. You can choose to follow it or choose not to, but avoid those ETFs, okay? Avoid the USOs, the DGASs, there's natural gas ETFs too. I say, if you're day trading, if you're looking for a trade to make, focus on the equities. The equities, like WLL is a great example, was a great pattern this morning. If you look, I've got a list here of all these junk oil and gas stocks to watch, and why won't get there? Okay, so let me sort by volume. You can see WLL, crazy volume today. It's the second highest volume today. It's a huge move. That's why it's the most interesting. I mean, look at that volume. 178 million shares traded today. So that's the biggest thing I wanted to bring to you today is keep an eye on these what I call junk oil and gas stocks, okay? I mean, look at this thing. Classic dip and rip. And, if you're on the YouTube lives, again, you're familiar with this. Maybe if you're on Facebook, maybe you're on Periscope, maybe you aren't. But, we look for these high volume plays that spike out of the gate, dip, and then reclaim the high of day into that midday, late day area. And I mean, look at that 10:10, look at where I'm hovering. 10:10 a.m. This thing broke the high of the day on crazy high volume, huge volume, and proceeded to go from, 140 to 240. Now, I always like to be clear, you're not saying you're going to get that entire move, okay? Not saying you're ever going to get that full, $1 move, but there's a good chance you can catch a lot of that move. That's the great thing, and if and have realistic expectations when you're trading something that moves this fast. I mean, let's say you bought, let's just talk hypotheticals. Let's say you bought that 140 high a day break. I mean, you're pretty quickly up 30, 40, 50 cents on a stock that was $1 this morning, okay? This stock was, in pre-market this morning was in the low ones. If you catch, 20, 30, 40%, you take your gain, you move on. Now, that being said, based on the volume, I mean, this thing holding nicely here at 2. If this into that, we talk about that 2 p.m., that afternoon window a lot. If this gets through there, and the volume stays, could be very interesting. And I'm just choosing WLL as an example. Okay, I don't know if you guys, I brought up that spreadsheet, but I brought it up pretty quickly. There is a ton of these on that spreadsheet. Let me bring it back up. I mean, there really isn't any time to go over all of them, but pretty much all of them are the same setup. Whether it be, all of these higher volume plays. OAS, 180 million shares today. DNR, 60 million. CPE, 60 million. On down the line. So, and this is just basic penny stocks 101, really. I mean, there's nothing special here. It's this recipe that I talk about pretty much every webinar, every video. You've got a long-term downtrending chart. I mean, this is WLL. And remember, I'm not saying you trade this specific ticker. I'm just using this as an example of what we look for on these high-volume first screen days. So I'm going to do the hand thing that I do a lot, okay? And I'm going to start ticking off positives for this setup. So you've got this, brutal chart. There might be no uglier chart out there than WLL. You get that first screen day yesterday, it gaps, it traded 150 million shares yesterday. And, so first screen day, ridiculous volume. It's tech. I consider this a hot sector because of the fact that, back to the oil and gas idea. Everyone is talking about oil and gas right now. We're getting emails like crazy. We're getting DMs like crazy. I told this story I was on Instagram Live this morning, and I told this story. I've had like 5 family or friends text me or call me asking about oil and gas stocks this week. That is, I never get that. I never get that much, about, like with the virus stocks. I don't know if I had, this is an interesting comparison when we're talking about these hot sectors. I mean, the virus stocks have been the hottest hot sector I've ever seen in 15 years of trading. Hottest hot sector ever. I don't think I had a single, I call them civilians, okay? I call people that don't trade, I call them civilians, all right? I don't know if I had a single civilian ask me about virus stocks. But all of a sudden this week, and this is friends and family, not people, not people that are actively trading, are asking me about oil and gas. So to me, that makes it a hot sector. And I told this story this morning. I remember being in New York City in December of 2017. And remember, December 2017 was when Bitcoin hit 20,000. And I mean, on the plane, people talking about Bitcoin. On the at the airport, at the restaurant, at the hotel lobby. I'm in the elevator, and people are talking about Bitcoin and Ripple and Ethereum and it's everywhere. So that's where I think, because of the mainstream coverage of the oil moves, that's why I consider this for sure a hot sector. So anyway, that's the recipe on any momentum stock. Unusual volume, that dip and rip style we love to see. Now you got to have the volume. The volume is one of the biggest criteria you got to keep an eye on. Okay? And I know I'm beating that to death, but I think so many newer traders, they'll hear about these patterns, whether it be breakouts or dip buys or VWAP holds or, there's a million patterns out there. But I think a lot of what trips up newer traders is they try and trade these patterns when they don't have air quotes ridiculous volume. And then, you'll get people that say, buying breakouts doesn't work. Well, you can't buy any breakout. I listed you 5 reasons why that mid-morning break on WLL was such a good setup. So, all right, everyone. Again, thank you. I'm trying to just, I told you in the beginning, I'm really just trying to, I'm trying to get to Twitch. So I'm live on Twitch right now, but I'm not sure how to get to like the comments. Why is it making me? It's making me choose interests. I don't want to choose interests. Done. All right. Okay.
Gordon Hayward shows his opponents no mercy.
And bear with me. This is, again, this is my first time going live on. This is my Sketch. First time going live. Sketch is working, or Sketch. Twitch. Looks like Periscope is working. Looks like Facebook's working. And looks like YouTube's working. Awesome. Okay. All right. So anyway, I'm going to jump off. I do have a webinar here coming up at 1 p.m. Keep an eye on these oil and gas plays. The virus plays are still crazy hot. Market, nice green day today. And I will leave you with this. I don't know how many times I'm going to be back live on the 4 networks like this, but I'm live every day until May 1st on Instagram. So go to StocksToTrade, StocksToTrade, all spelled out on Instagram. Give it a follow. I'll be live tomorrow morning at 8:30 and every day till May 1st. And then at a minimum, I'll be going live on these 4 networks, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Periscope, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. All right? Have a great day, everyone. And, sorry I didn't get to the Q&A, but, like I said, this is just, this is more of a test than anything. Have a great day, everyone, and we will hopefully see you on Instagram Live tomorrow. If not, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern.